26th of January, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua, Mishpatim.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Okay.
Hello, Rabbi. I can see you and hear you.
Thank you. Same here. Okay. We were up to
Looks like Shaney.
it's we just passed Shady. Yeah. Okay, Pasuk Chaf. Yeah, Meir, please read.
Okay. It says, "V'chi yache ish et avdo o et amato v'shevet umet tachat yado nakom yinakim." Okay, so when a man hits his servant.
Yes, V'chi in this sense means if. And if a man,
Oh, if.
there's no obligation of a man to hit his servant. Okay?
That's true. Okay. Or the woman slave with a rod, with a shevet.
Hashavua with a rod, it means a stick. Okay?
Well, isn't that what Moshe held, the shevet? No, mateh.
Mateh, yeah, the mateh.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. It's interesting that the name Shevet and Mateh both refer to a tribe, and they also refer to a stick.
Oh, yeah. How do you like that?
It's mashma later on in Sefer Bamidbar and Chumash Bamidbar in Parshas Bamidbar. The idea is because the definition of each tribe was that it had a standard, a flag. So that was represented by the Mateh. Ish the Mateh Abaisov. Ish al Matehu. Right? It's the standard. Right? Each Shevet had a standard. Okay.
Okay, so and he dies tachat yado, under his hand. Oh, nakom in the anakim. He will be revenged.
Right, his death will be avenged, or he will be avenged.
He will be avenged. Okay, so let's go to Rashi. Rashi v'kiyake ish et avdo o et amato. Okay, so if a man hits his slave or woman slave, okay. Be'eved kina'ani hakatu medaber. So this pasuk is speaking of a Canaanite servant. Okay. Oh, Eino Ella, the Ivri. Or this is.
Or rather, right, maybe not, or Eino, maybe not, Ella Be'ivri. It's talking about a Jewish servant.
Jewish servant, okay. Talmud Omar, so the pasuk says, Ki kaspo hu, because he.
We're going to see in the next pasuk. There's a certain major clause in which this servant is different from others, from a regular person, and therefore he says because, and the reason is because ki kaspo hu, because he is his monetary property. Okay, which means his money. Okay, but we'll see about it. It means it's his monetary property. Now, that
Okay.
only applies to a Canaanite servant and not to a Jewish servant.
Okay. Makaspo kanoi lo olamit. Okay, so as
Just like his money is
property
something which is acquired to him forever.
forever. Oh, af eved hakanoi lo olamit. So too, the slave who he acquires is his forever.
Right.
Okay. V'harei haya biklal makei ish v'meit.
Okay. Now this person, it says that one person, make ish, if a person strikes somebody, a man, and that doesn't make a difference if he's a Jew or not, and he dies.
Okay. Ela baha katuv v'hotzio min haklal. So this comes to tell us Hotzito and takes out from the generality of the
Okay.
laws. So it's specific, I guess.
Yeah. He actually has a note over here. I have a note over here that Peter Goarie that make ish v'meis means any Jew. Okay, what is the din if somebody, a Jew, kills a non-Jew? There may not necessarily be the same rules for the death penalty. But certainly if a Jew kills another Jew, and even a Canaanite maidservant, a Canaanite servant, he's also chayav for the death penalty. That's what the pasuk is telling you over here. Okay? Okay, so the reason why it's repeated over here, because we're going to see, because the next pasuk Chaf Aleph is indicating that there's a special clause when it comes to Canaanite servants, that where the person who, the master, not just any person, the master strikes him and he dies as a result, then not under all circumstances will the master get the death penalty. Okay.
Okay. So let's see. Okay. Katuv min haklal lihiyot nidon bedin yom o yomayim. That he is to be judged
with the din of yom o yomayim, as we're going to see in the next passage. Shim lo meis tachas yodoi v'shoho me'es la'es parta. That if this Canaanite slave did not die immediately, and he was 24 hours after the incident that he died, even though he did die as a result of the blow, but he remained alive for 24 hours, then Potter, then the master who struck him is Potter from the death penalty.
Oh, okay.
We'll see the more about this in the next passage.
Okay. Then we go on. Bashevet, with a rod, or with the rod. Kishiesh bo kidei lahamit hakatuv medaber. So let's see.
Right, we talk about where there's Kishiesh bo kidei lahamit, meaning the blow with which the master hit the servant, right? That was a strong enough blow that it can kill. It was a lethal blow.
Okay. O afilu ein bo kidei lahamit.
I might think that even implies that even if he dies as a result of the blow, even Badsam the blow was not lethal in itself.
Oh, Talmud Lomar b'Yisrael.
Talmud Lomar b'Yisrael, right? It says regarding a regular Jew.
Okay. Be'evan Yad Asher Yumat.
Yomus Bo Iko. Right. If with a handheld stone, right, Asher Yomus Bo, with which is able to kill him, he struck him. So this is a pasuk in Sefer Bamidbar, in the Parsha Maseh, I think. Just let me check up over here. Yeah, Bamidbar Lamed Hey. So it says in that pasuk over there that if he struck a Jew, when one Jew strikes another Jew with be'even yod asher yomus bo iko, was with a handheld stone, had the blow was lethal in order to that it had the capability of killing him. He struck him, and indeed he died. That's what the pasuk says. Okay, then he's chayav misa. So there's Rashi says, right? And this we can learn out from here, kal v'chomer. Oma Yisrael chomo. Right? Just like by Yisrael, who his death is something very serious. Ein chayav olav ela im kein hikol b'dava sheyesh be kedei lahomes. Then the one who struck him, the perpetrator, is only going to be chayav if he strikes him to the degree that it's got the blow was a lethal blow that could kill. Okay? And on a limb which would be that such a blow would be lethal, that would cause death. For instance, that he struck him on his head, Lamashi. But I mean, even if it's a lethal, let's say the perpetrator, the one who's delivered the blow, he delivered a lethal, technically it was such a strong blow, it was a lethal blow, but he hit the guy on his hand. So if he hits him on his hand, he's not going to be chayav misa for that, because it's not, maybe if he'd hit him on his head or his heart, it would have killed him. But if it's hit him on his hand, there's no reason why he should be chayav misa for that. So we need two conditions over here. One is that the blow is such a strong blow that it is a lethal blow that can kill. And number two, it hit the victim on a place where it was, the blow on that place would potentially kill it. Okay, so if that's what happened, means the blow was a blow that can kill, and it hit the victim on a place where it could be lethal, and the mice in the end he died, then for that the damager, right, the one who delivered the blow, he would be chayav misa, because he hit him with a blow that can kill, and it would hit the victim on a place that is lethal, that the person could die from it. Okay, then those two factors together make it that, and indeed he died at the end, that make it so he's going to be chayav misa for that. But then evet hakal lo kol shekain, right? A servant, a Canaanite maidservant who is in this respect somewhat more lenient the din regarding him than kol shekain, then you require that there has to be a blow that can kill, and it hit him in a place that would be lethal. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Then Rashi says there, no koim yinokein.
Okay. Mitat Saif is death by a sword.
Right.
The
Well, the
Cain.
term no koim yinokein refers to the death penalty by the sword. How do I know that? So Rashi says, "V'chein hu omer."
Okay. Cherev no kemet nikam brit. So a sword avenges
the vengeance of the covenant.
Covenant. Oh.
That's talking about later on in Parshas B'chukaisai, part of the Teichacha that Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to send against the Jewish people, Chas v'shalom, going to send them against the Jewish people if they sin. And the pasuk says they're going to send nations against them, that they're going to attack them. Cherev noikemes the kambris, the sword which avenges the vengeance of the covenant, meaning because the Jewish people didn't keep the covenant, Kodesh Baruch Hu will take out his vengeance against the Jewish people by bringing an enemy who will attack them with the sword. So Kopanim, you see in the Koma is carried out by the sword. So same similar covenant. So nokim ye nokim. So here this Canaanite servant who's been killed by his master will be killed. Whereas when it says nokim ye nokim, he will be avenged. The Torah is referring to means he will get death by the sword. Okay. Louis, you up to reading the next pasuk, or should I give it to Meir?
No, let Meir read, please.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the Kaf Aleph. Okay, it says, Ach im yom, o yomayim, ya'amod, lo yukam ki kaspo hu. So if he says here survived, I guess, for a day or 2 days.
Okay. Lo yukam, he will not be avenged. Ki kaspo hu, because he is his monetary property.
Wow.
Okay, we'll see. This is a very interesting halacha mentioned over here.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, Rashi. Achim yom o yomayim yamod lo yukam. So if he survives 1 or 2 days, he shall not be avenged. Okay. Im al yom echad hu patur. Okay, so if on one day he's exempt.
Right.
So I guess the person, the killer.
Meaning, if the servant survived for a day, right, then the master is potter for having killed him. So certainly, if he survives 2 days.
Oh, okay.
That's what it means,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Referring to a day which is like 2 days. What is that?
Zeme 8.
That means from time to time, which literally means 24 hours.
Oh.
From this time today till this time tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
That's time to time. Okay.
That makes sense.
So that's referring to 24 hours. So basically, the rule is that if the servant dies within 24 hours, then the master is liable for his death. If the servant doesn't die within 24 hours, and dies after 24 hours, then the master is acquitted. He's not liable for the death. He's not liable for the death penalty for having killed his servant.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. Okay, lo yukam.
Okay, good. Okay, ha-acher shehikahu. So what if another hits him?
Yeah, meaning if it's not the master who hits this servant, it's a policeman.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going back to Minneapolis. Okay, but anyway, but
Okay.
if it's a policeman who kills this this Canaanite servant.
Okay. Afal pi she'shaha me'et la'et kodem shemait.
Chayav. Even if the Canaanite servant remained alive for 24 hours, nevertheless, and he died subsequently, the one who delivered the blow, one who's the perpetrator, he is Chayav Misa for having killed Okay, now l'chora, what the svara is in this, I'm not sure there is, because what is the svara behind it? Why should it be that the master has got this? How do you call it? What's the right word? What do you call it? I forgot the word now. He knows he's given a reprieve. The master has a reprieve that if the servant doesn't die within the first 24 hours, then the master is acquitted. Right? He's not chad misa.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm just trying to think. He brings as far here a note over here. Be'emayim chayim shechazoka she'ein odam miskaven lahazik es mamona. Lokach potter mimisa k'sheshoma es le'es. I'm not quite sure what the difference of 24 hours should make a difference. The only kind of the svara which I was thinking of is that we cannot limit the master. In other words, the master has to have the ability to be able to discipline his abbot. So we cannot restrict the master to the extent that he cannot hit his abbot. So therefore, obviously, he's not going to be able to hit him straight out and that he causes grievous bodily harm, stun. Right? But on the other hand, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I thought of a spar, but I'm not so happy about it. Okay.
Okay, so
let's go next passage. Chav base.
Kaf bet. V'chi yinatsu anashim v'nagfo isha hara.
Nakfu.
Oh, nakfu, they do it, right? Okay. V'yatsu yiladeha.
Isha hara. Isha hara is a?
I have isha hara, right?
Hara. With a hay.
Oh, hara, it's a hay. Oh, okay. V'yatsu.
Mean an angry woman, furious.
Right.
Isha hara is a pregnant woman.
Pregnant woman. Okay. V'yatsu yiladeha. V'lo yihye ason anosh ye'anesh ka'asher yashit alav bal ha'isha v'natan b'fililim. Okay, so if I guess men fight, okay, and they hit a pregnant woman.
Right. Means they not just hit or pushed.
Pushed. Okay. And she miscarries. Okay. But let's see. Lo yasona nosh.
Lo yasam. It's a snachta there. So it's like a comma. Okay, and there won't be a tragedy. I don't know.
A tragedy. Okay.
Yeah, I translated it.
Son is tragedy. Okay.
Son means referring to that there's a death. Means
a death.
The woman will die as a result. So I wrote it here that there is no fatal injury.
No fatal injury. That's to the women, though.
Right.
Okay.
To her.
Okay. Anosh ye'anesh. He will be penalized.
Right. He'll surely be penalized.
Okay. Kasher yashit alav.
Baal ha'isha.
Oh, so when the husband
of the woman makes a claim against him.
Okay.
In Besdin, obviously.
Let's see.
V'dasan biflilim.
And he gives,
and he has to give it now biflilim, according to the judge's decision.
oh, Filim.
The biflilim, filim means according to the judges.
Oh,
In this
okay.
sense- So this sense it means according to the judges means according to the judge's decision.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe more literally translated, he shall give that amount, as whatever the Bezdin decides, he will give that amount biflilim in court.
In court.
Okay? Flilim is the how do we call it, the judicial process. Whereas through a judicial process, he will have to give that compensation to the father of to the husband of the woman. Right. So, by the way, it's an interesting thing that Lemaisa these men did not injure this woman or cause her to miscarry intention. That's why the pasuk uses v'nogfu ishahara, right? They pushed, but they didn't. It's not much, but they didn't do it intentionally. Okay. Yet, as we'll see in the next pasuk, if the woman chas v'shalom die, okay, there would be an osayia, there would be a fatal injury to the woman, then there would be no payment for the child. And okay, because the Maisa, chas v'shalom, let's say they would intentionally push this woman and intentionally make her miscarry, okay, then there's an interesting point over here, is that there's a discussion, if a person kills a fetus, and the fetus is a viable fetus, is there a death penalty for that or not?
It's a good question.
That is for sure. That is for sure that it's forbidden to kill a fetus. That goes without saying. Okay, the question is it to the same degree as a regular human being, a living human being, or is it has on a lesser degree? What there is enough gemina, and this is not unfortunately not maybe rare, but it does sometimes happen. What happens is it can unfortunately happen quite commonly. What happens if the woman is in the middle of childbirth and the fetus creates a threat to the life of the mother? So now, if you're going to say the fetus is also a living being, so why should the mother's life have more importance over the fetus's life? Right? That's always the thing when the two people are on an equal footing. There's a whole answer. There's a whole thing that's it. I have to make sure I've got an obligation to keep myself alive, rather than keeping somebody else alive. Okay, go back again. There's Chaim Soloveitchik, who was one of the he wasn't actually the founder of the Brisker dynasty, but he was the most famous for his analytical approach to learning Gemara. So he has a sefer on the Rambam. And this is the discussion there, is there's two aspects. There's actually an act of killing somebody, and there's act. Person has to do something to prevent himself dying at the expense of somebody else dying. But he's not going to actually kill the other person. The Gemara brings a classic case is, the Gemara in Bava Metzia says that two people are in a desert and they only have enough water for one person. And that water belongs to one person. Because you've got Reuven and Shimon. Reuven has a little bit of a flask of water, which will enough to keep himself alive, but not to give somebody else. And Shimon doesn't have any water. So the Gemara says, well, actually has a discussion about it, but the Gemara we pass can like Kiva, who says, meaning that if I have the Reuven, let's say, he owns the water, so he's not mechuyev to give away the water to Shimon, that Shimon should stay alive, and Reuven, as a result, will die. Because Reuven has he has water, he has what to keep himself alive, and even though he's going to, as a result of keeping himself alive, the other person's going to die. But he's not killing him. Reuven's not killing the other person. The other person's going to die of thirst. So if it's a totally passive action, it's not a passive result, that Reuven is going to keep the water for himself and not give it to Shimon. And when the fact that Shimon's going to die, but Reuven hasn't done anything positive to make Shimon die. Just he did not give him water. He did not give him means that he can keep himself alive. But the fact that he's actually, in other words, but all being equal, nothing happening, Shimon, because he doesn't have enough water, Shimon's going to die. It says Rabbi Kiva, if the water is mine, I have water, and the other person doesn't have water, I'm not mechuyev to give him water, and as a result, neither of us will stay alive, right? We're just going to be on equal footing, right? Or I'd rather drink the water myself, then I will be able to stay alive, and he not. Rabbi Kiva says, your life comes first. But that's talking about keeping myself alive. But if it's a shaila, which the Gemara says it's a classic shaila, if a group of bandits come over to somebody and they say, listen, either you shoot so-and-so, either you kill so-and-so, or we're going to kill you. Then the din is that a person's got to let himself be killed rather than he should kill somebody else. And that is because they're wanting him to do an action of killing. They want him to take a gun and shoot the other guy. I'm not allowed to do that. The Torah says it's one of the three cardinal sins that I've got to let myself die rather than go ahead and kill somebody else. So therefore, a person has to let himself be killed rather than do the action of killing somebody else. So this is what Rabbi Chaim discusses the difference between, is the prohibition of actually a positive action of killing, or is it whereas merely saving oneself is allowed, or is even if somebody, let's say, this is Rabbi Chaim discusses this case, that what happens, the bunch of bandits say, listen, we are going to push you over the cliff onto somebody else. You're going to land on somebody else and squash him and kill him, right? Or otherwise we're going to kill you. Now, what's the difference between the regular action of shooting? Very simple. When if the case over here where this person is pushed off the cliff and he lands on somebody else and squashes him to death, he is not doing a direct action. He's doing it. They're going to push him off the cliff. He's not doing any positive action to kill the person. It's purely a passive action that they pushed him off the cliff and maybe he's going to land on the guy and kill him. So it's a passive form of a ma'aser etzicha. This is what Reb Chaim in the first Reb Chaim in the Sefer discusses this point. He says it's a machlokes rishonim. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but anyway, the point is there's a clear distinction between keeping yourself alive, okay, and which there's no, obviously one's own life comes first to keep yourself alive, and there's a distinction actually doing an action to kill the other person, of which the Torah tells us one of the 3 cardinal sins. You're not allowed to kill somebody in order to keep yourself alive. Okay, at this point we will adjourn, and Bez Hashem will carry on tomorrow. Okay, very good. Okay, be well. Kol Tov.
Excellent.